Day one. Day one. God's taste profile, color scheme to move you. The Master created a wonder planet. Creation to transformation. Balance. You smile like an angel, connected to the light. You're in good company. Trying to be positive, ecstatic, euphoric. Love is prehistoric. This life's intense, emphatic, dramatic, beautiful, temporary. This is the burden we carry. This life's intense. We should help each other through. We should protect the good and the true. This life's immense. My life's intense. Vivacious, expressing. Heart spacious, caressing. The original blessing. You are the original blessing. Now I'm in a study room. As I've said, this is in between the end of the school year and summer school. Memorial Day is Monday. I think summer school starts Tuesday. 5,000. Usually there's 28,000. So it's chill time. It's kind of chill time. I'm going to move this up. Anyway, I can talk without whispering, which is good. I heard a guy downstairs kind of emotionally breaking down, and maybe he was a worker, I don't know, but just talking about money and I'm out of here and da-da-da, and we have to create better lives for each other where we feel comfortable and we're not as stressed and overwhelmed, and just make life better for each other. We've created a system that rewards the few. We reward the few, and the corruption of our politics, the lobbyists, and what did the Supreme Court do? Citizens United, make it easier for rich people and corporations to buy candidates and elections and government. What was that? Was that 5-4 Republicans? Some of the worst decisions. It's exactly politics. It's 5-4 Republicans. It's all about politics. Don't tell me it's not. Bush v. Gore, or what's the Dobbs decision to outlaw abortion rights for women in America. 6-3 Republican, 3 Democrat. So, if you want a pretty intolerant government that supports the rich and does nothing for the poor, then Republican justices are who you want. So, can I move this? Yeah, I can. Let's talk a little politics. Because in democracies, we need citizens that talk politics and discuss and decide and vote their hearts. Supreme Court sides with Republicans over South Carolina voting map. It's about a gerrymandered map. A lot of these maps that you look at are, and Democrats can do the same thing. Republicans are probably worse about it, where they make, instead of block, 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 they'll make it so unusual to dilute the power of Democrats or Black Americans or Hispanic Americans or whoever they don't want in power or to have power. So some states probably have I'll say 35% Black population, but representation probably 15. Partly because of that, not because Black Americans aren't voting, but because of the way they, as they call it, gerrymander. I'm gonna click this a little. Oh, it talks a little. There's an article I'm reading the New York Times, which is most of these papers are pretty centrist. I mean, in a way, New York Times, Washington Post. I think they have pretty good clarity on most of the issues, but don't tell me that they're that progressive or that liberal. The Post is owned by a billionaire, and the New York Times, I'm sure the biggest shareholders are billionaires. So you don't hear a whole lot of talk about inequality and about the rights of Americans for more perfect union and domestic tranquility, which will necessitate more equality than we have. A little article about Oprah and Trump. I guess they were kind of friendly 25 years ago. And I didn't read the article that well, but at the end she said something about, remember, before he's a politician, he's a celebrity. So people look at him and think, man, this guy's cool. He dresses nice. He's always in charge. He fires people because he knows what's going on. They overlook the bullying or the bragging or the misogyny or the racism, or maybe part of them is racist and misogynistic, and men should be in control and women should stay in the kitchen. That's not reality today. I'm on a university campus. I believe there's more women than men on university campuses in America today. And I'm not saying that should give you a whole lot of extra income, but it does. So, and men don't seem to be as interested, I guess, in higher education. And I think there's problems in all parts of America and this earth. How do we live together and how do we strive to be our best and fulfill our potentials? It's complex, but it's not something that we can avoid or should avoid. What else is there? Oh, it's part of it is about terrible fentanyl deaths in Baltimore. More fentanyl deaths per capita in Baltimore than any other major city. Fentanyl's killed quite a few in Fayetteville, this little town I'm from. I know of two, and I know of a few that have been, I don't want to say ruined, but just changed in a dramatically negative way from, drugs. The opioids, I guess fentanyl is an opioid, but I remember at first it was Oxycontin, and they were talking about Oxy and all the trouble with that, but I'm not sure when fentanyl came in with Oxy and then became kind of the number one killer. Sad. Again, why are people using drugs so much? I guess they're not happy with their lives, and to try to escape. Why do country people do meth? I'm in North Arkansas, a lot of meth here, and southern Missouri, a lot of meth. You talk about the Ozarks and you think, oh, pretty country people. Well, yeah, and a lot of lost people that are on drugs and just being destroyed and destroying everybody around them, their families. How many grandparents are raising the kids of their children who are in jail or on meth and can't raise kids? It's a sadness that we have to deal with and create a better place. Well, here's another article: a provocative flag flown at Alito's home, in two different homes, one where he lives, I guess, in D.C., and one is that in New Jersey? I don't know. It's a vacation home, but both in support of Trump. after the insurrection. So he's a thug. He's a lying thug. Uh, Very arrogant. Alito is the one that said Roe versus Wade, Roe v. Wade, was egregiously wrong from the start. And this is a law that had been there 50 years. And here's a smarty pants saying it was egregiously wrong from the start. And so for 50 years, these ignorant Supreme Court justices went along. But luckily, you got me now and these other guys that are going to make it illegal to have an abortion even in the first trimester. You have no rights for health care of your own body, and pretty soon they're looking at have no rights for contraception, which they would also say maybe that's an abortion. He's a Catholic. It's insane that this religion is totally against abortion and totally against contraception. I mean, come out of the Dark Ages, the Inquisition, all this bullshit. And may decide that same-sex marriage, none of this is in the Constitution. Yeah, none of it is. None of it. Nothing in the Constitution about AI or cars or the internet or electricity, because it wasn't around. Yeah, we better stand up. We have one of the worst Supreme Courts in history, and we need to deal with that, including some type of term limits. Let's just be real. You don't want them in there for life if they don't want to leave and they're 89 and they don't know what they're doing. But it's, just give them a 15-year. Somebody was saying, about 15 years, or have every president be able to elect one, or I don't know. But you can't have them in there forever. It's a joke. It's a joke on democracy. Well, there's something about the Gaza war. Is that what you would call it? The Israeli-Palestinian war. Some people would call it the Israeli-Hamas war. Yeah, Hamas can't be the leader of the Palestinians. October 7th, they were just so predatory and violent and inhumane and terroristic, and they can't be the leaders of the Palestinians. It has to be somebody else. I forget how many were killed. Let's say 1,500. But now Netanyahu, who is not very popular and might have gone to sort of like Trump, would go to trial as soon as he's out of office. I think they've killed 35,000. So when you're talking about anti-Semitism, you also have to talk about, okay, well, they've killed 35,000 as opposed to 1,500. And, through the history, you can see an inequality on how many deaths. If 20 Israelis were killed in a raid, then 1,000 Palestinians would be killed in retaliation. When we have problems that we don't face, they just become worse and worse, which is happening here because we've decided not to deal with a two-state solution. We've decided not to give Palestinians any power or recognition or home. So they've been living in terrible situations. And it exploded by the terroristic, inhumane, bloody Hamas attack, which I'm not sure what a war crime is, but that was a war crime. And some are saying what's happening in Gaza is a war crime too, and killing 35,000. I'm not sure what a war crime is, but killing people is a sin, and we have to do better. What else we got down here? China launches drills as punishment drills around Taiwan. It's like circling the island. They're doing their military drills. China, wow, what a terrible place. What a terrible leadership. When I say terrible place, Russians and Chinese are good people, but Putin and Xi are terrible leaders and autocrats and dictators and no human rights. And a lot of Americans are kind of looking at Trump like that. Yeah, he can be a dictator. As if what America has fought for through the centuries isn't worth keeping and expanding. Turn it over to a dictator. Almost a theocracy. A lot of it's led by Christians and evangelicals, conservative Christians and evangelicals, who like this guy who's so immoral, but he says the right things to them. And this is a very diverse country from all nations of the world. And if you want to put down immigrants, we'll put down everybody, even the Native Americans. They were an immigrant 15,000 years ago. And for about, 14,000 years, it was just them. And then the Europeans started coming. So this is a very diverse place, and to try to make your religion the religion is wrong and undemocratic. And even the founders, which people seem to like to rally around, knew that. They were really into tolerance because of the diversity. And many of them weren't that religious at all, but they believed in tolerating other religions and trying to weave a fabric out of these disparate parts and not say we are a Christian nation. What does that mean? There's so many different denominations, and some Christians are really mean people and hateful and racist. So, yeah, I'm as an American as anybody born here, and I don't want to be a Christian. I don't want to be a Buddhist. I don't want to be a Muslim. I just want to be myself and help create a good society and a better society. The Constitution is a great thing, but it was also, I've read a lot about it, and I'm reading right now about it, and one of the main issues is slavery and how to deal with slavery. And it's not about abolishing slavery, it's how to count the slaves, the 3/5 compromise. And the fugitive slave law, this idea that if the slave escapes from South Carolina and goes to New York, well, you got to help return the slave to the owner of another human being. And we like to talk about originalism. What did they mean? Well, they meant black people could be slaves. Is that originalism? Yes, originalism. That's the original Constitution. So, a lot of times originalism is just one way to argue for your own viewpoint, and you'll cover it in originalism to act like you're more patriotic, which of course you're not. You're just trying to argue your own particular point of view. And this is 2024. It's not 1787. We have to wake up and be a country of citizens and help run this place and decide what to do. Not look back 250 years all the time saying, well, what did they mean by this? And what did they mean by this? What do you mean by this? How do you think what do you think the general welfare is? What do you think a more perfect union is? Well, it's more equal than we are today. We're so unequal. And again, I'll bring out tax cuts for the rich, which Reagan promoted, and he was rich in 1980, and the Republicans passed. And I believe the Bushes did, but the biggest ones I think were Reagan and Trump and the Republicans. So you regular people, common people like me, that vote Republican, just don't act stupid about what kind of taxes, what kind of tax policies there are. They're going to cut the taxes on the rich people, and then they're going to say, "Man, we have a bad debt. We need to cut. We need to cut programs for the poor people. We need to cut Social Security. We need to cut Medicare. Uh, we need to create an oligarchy. These guys are smart. You're going to vote for Trump because he's smart. I don't think he's smart at all. But if you have, I think his dad gave him 10 million. If you have 10 million, you can invest it. And last year the market was up 20%. So now you'd have 12 million. But regular people, we don't have money to invest. So we just barely hang on. If you try to buy a house, well, this guy's got 12 million. He's going to buy two houses, and he's going to rent one to you for a high price. So is it waking up, being woke, waking up to what's around us, waking up to the inequality and inequity and our own sins of being shitty citizens and not helping each other? Even the founding fathers, they said a lot of it was on self-interest. They have to protect the government and this and that from self-interest. Everybody is self-interested, and that's a terrible thing if we're all just self-interested. It's all about me. I have $1 million. I really want 3 or 4. Instead of thinking, man, something's wrong with our society. There's so many homeless people and people struggling. We have to help create a better housing market, including good and decent and well-built and safe public housing. I think that would be fine. The private sector is not set up for that. They're set up for profit, profit, profit. If you think that's what creates a good society, I think you're fooling yourself. It certainly has nothing to do with Jesus. A lot of people here talk about Jesus. I don't think he was a big capitalist. He didn't care about money. Why did Christians care so much about money and follow a guy that didn't? What sense does that make? It sounds hypocritical. Sell your things and give the money to the poor. That's what he said. When the people came to him, complaining the taxes are too high. Well, who's on the money? Oh, Caesar. Well, give to Caesar what Caesar wants and give to God what God wants. Yeah, we're not like that. The people who say we're a Christian nation also don't follow that, don't want to do that. Money. It's one of our greatest sins. Greedy, selfish. I think in our hearts we're really more compassionate and loving, and we want a good society, but politically we vote the opposite. And Trump is good about pointing to other people, saying they're the bad people, they're the rotten people. You're good, and these guys are the devil. Whether it's immigrants or whether it's liberals or whether it's just hate. And he liked Hitler. So this idea of hating others, like you're the greatest and these guys are the worst. We're all human beings. We're all human beings. If there's a God and God created everything, God created all the human beings. And I don't think God created these as like the chosen people and everybody else are like losers. What kind of a God would do that? It's insane. A creator wouldn't do that. Life is so divine. Life is so beautiful. So special. every one of us. We've got to take care of every one of us, love every one of us, not love money and material wealth. You know, work toward a better society. Simple stuff, fundamental stuff. Keep it simple, baby. Love you.